Hello, beautiful Earth Angels. Welcome to Team Joanna. My name is Joanna, and this is going to be a weekly pulse for September or week of September the 14th. Some of you may know I missed last week. I was away. I was taking a course, which was very interesting. And the one thing that I got from the course. So the course that I was taking is through Monroe Institute, which is an institute that focuses on exploring a higher level of consciousness. So I spent an entire week exploring other levels of consciousness and basically spending 5 to 6 hours a day in divided doses in deep meditation. And it was in a group type environment, so it wasn't just me. The point I am trying to make by bringing this up is that we collectively in a group have almost like had, sorry, I'm just looking to tune out the music. We all in a group collectively found that we had slight difficulties with perceiving things very clearly, and which was unusual in this type of environment. And I tuned in for guidance and I asked, why are we having such difficulty with clearly perceiving other forms of consciousness, or even some people spirit guides, whatever it is? And the information that I received is that the Earth is now experiencing a lot of heavy or lower vibrating energy, which of course makes perfect sense. And because there is so much of it, it almost acts like this thick layer or thick crust of heavier, denser energy that is either preventing us from perceiving things clearly from other dimensions, spirit, even intuition, or it's not helping us perceive things clearly. So if you are having challenges or difficulties with connecting with your intuition, connecting with your guides, connecting with angels, whatever word you want to use, connecting to higher levels of vibrations, know that it is temporary, and the world condition has a lot to do with it. And I was actually given an idea in order to help me get through that, because I work with connecting, well, pretty much every single day when I work with clients. So use this information because you might find it helpful. And what I received was that when I'm in meditation and I'm having challenges perceiving clearly, I am to visualize a beam of light going straight through me from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet, all the way down to earth, and also having the same beam of light shoot right up through my crown chakra, and see this beam of light going through this thick cloud of energy and piercing through, and seeing this beam of light piercing through to the clear space, to the space where there is clarity beyond clouds. So use that analogy, or use that visualization to see how this might help you, and make sure that you are anchored accordingly, meaning grounded. So that's what I want to pass on to you, and it's information that I feel is very important, because we're all trying to access guidance, and we may be having, particularly now, challenges with accessing such guidance. So that is what I want to leave with you. As far as, well, for those of you, first and foremost, for those of you who are new to my channel, thank you so much for coming, and I do hope you stay. I hope you like what you hear, what you see, what you hear predominantly. And if you do, I would love it if you could subscribe or hit the notification button, or like. This lets other people know that there is some worthwhile content to listen to. And so thank you for choosing to stay here. and I do hope you stay. If you are coming back, if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I always say this. I do this for you. I love what I do. It can get intense at times, but ultimately I do this for me, but I do this for you. So thank you. Because of you, I grow. So that's what I want to say. Also, if you would like to have a session with me, of course, that information is down below. I have an Instagram page where I do almost daily messages. That link is also down below. And last but not least, if you would like to be a member of a private forum on Facebook, we have a private Team Joanna or Joanna the Healer Facebook page. If you would like to be a part of that, we have, I think, 5,600 or 5,700 members. The link is down below. So without further ado, this is going to cover, weeks starting September 14th. Always keep in mind that just because it is for the week, it doesn't mean that it will not go beyond. As a matter of fact, these energies will always go beyond a specific week. So whether you listen to this weekly pulse or some other ones before, there may be a message in it there, even though it's not current as far as when it was posted. When I tuned into this energy, one of the first things that was indicated to me is to distance ourselves from negativity. Now, that sounds like a pretty straightforward message, makes perfect sense, especially because of what's happening. But it seems like in the next little while, we're going to be tested. And some of you are saying, what? I have been tested for years. I'm done with being tested. I hear you. When I say being tested, I mean our ability to respond to the world, or how we respond to the world, is going to be tested. There is a lot of impulsivity around us. There is a lot of jarring energy. There is a lot of anger. There is a lot of fiery energy. We all, we perfectly make sense. And this coming week and going forward, fall, I want to say the energy of fall is one of, literally what I see is us walking through what looks to me like a lot of chaos. I am not predicting chaos. I'm simply giving you the analogy that's being given to me for the purpose of giving you the message. And the message is to walk through the fire and not resist the fire. So obviously, I'm not asking you to walk through fire. I mean, if that's the thing you do, at least be careful. Fire means situations that are fiery. And all we have to do is turn on some kind of news, whatever channel, and there is something going on in the world. I mean, we know that that does not need explanation. But the testing that I was referring to earlier is our ability to walk through this fire, or to be able to handle this fire, or this fiery frequency, fire energy, in such a way that we don't allow it to hinder who we are, or stop us, or prevent us from being more than we currently are. So it feels very much like we are going to be presented with a dynamic that is equivalent to, I'm seeing the sign of the devil. So a whole bunch of limitations. I mean, we are seeing already how limitations or limited structures that have been set in place for many, 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 many years are being uprooted, and we are seeing a lot of division in our in our environments. And that's because we collectively are moving more towards improving the way we live by taking down or rethinking our old structures, where with particularly structures that are been built on fear and control. And, that may be different things for everybody. The point that's being made here is that though the world is presenting us with some challenging situations, this doesn't necessarily mean that things are getting worse. It may feel that way temporarily, but what it is we are seeing the effects of what happens when old systems or old structures are being torn down. Anytime we mess with a structure, it presents a certain chaos, and that's because chaos is often very necessary in order to create profound positive change. And as this chaos, and I'm talking about energy on this planet, continues, it gives us the opportunity to look within ourselves and ask ourselves a very important question. And that question is this: at this point in my life, who am I and who do I choose to be going forward? And when I say this to you, again, the appearance of the devil is shown to me, indicating that we have and will have plenty of opportunities to look at what limits us, whether it's a belief system, whether it's somebody else's will, whatever it is, which are also part of our foundation, part of our structure in terms of how we create life. So do yourself a favor over the next little while. Take a piece of paper and divide this piece of paper into 2 columns. In one column, write down, who am I? And list all the things that you think you are, you believe you are. And in the next column, write the I, or who I choose to be going forward, and write down whatever you would choose to be, or who you would choose to be going forward. Now, for those of you who already love who they are and who you are, and you have no need to shift or change anything, you might as well just say stop, because this isn't for you. I'm very happy for you, and as a matter of fact, tell us what your recipe is. For most of us, there is always something that limits us, whether we know it or not. And chances are you know it. And what limits us is, more than anything, our belief systems. Yes, our physical body limits us from, flying around and being free without a body. Yes, but that in comparison to how we limit ourselves is almost nothing. Not that it's nothing, but it's almost nothing. So take this time as an opportunity to realize your true self. And what is your true self? Your true self goes beyond your identity. Your identity is the way you structure your life in terms of who you are, what you believe, where you fit, all that kind of stuff that gives you this I, the ego perception. But you are more than the ego. One of the things I personally keep choosing to be more is a confident person. Does that mean that I'm not a confident person? No, I used to be terribly not confident. Thank God I have grown. Well, thanks to myself and to my guides that I have grown. But there's always more. There's always more. So when you make this list, it is very important that when you write down the person you choose to be, you don't diminish the person you are today. Because if you diminish the person you are today, you are essentially solidifying the fact that somehow you're not enough. And I've said this before many, many times. And it is difficult for some of us to grasp this in a logical way. But the message is always the same. You always were enough, you are enough, and you always will be enough. So since you are already enough, we have to deal with perception of you not being enough. And not feeling enough is absolutely a limitation. But remember, limitations are mostly self-made. So if you can limit yourself, because you are limiting yourself, you can equally unlimit yourself or expand expand your horizons. So this is an important time because we are being asked to literally reevaluate who we are in terms of what we think or what we believe. And I've put out some cards today, although I feel it's completely unnecessary for me to use cards, so I feel I've elevated. Nonetheless, I'll show you the cards because it's actually quite remarkable. We have the owl, which is a symbol for wisdom, twice. Okay, twice. This owl represents the mind, wisdom. And also we have the dragon, which is also about wisdom. But the dragon is about taming the ego. When I looked at the way these cards appeared to me, the first thing I realized is that we're being watched. Now, you can take the statement, we're being watched, in various different ways. The message I want to give is that we are being watched and observed by higher beings, so we are not alone. If you've been feeling alone, I feel you. Many people feel alone these days, but I assure you, you are not alone. There's a lot of eyes in the cards here. We have another one, which is the wolf, which is the leader. And all these eyes are looking at me. And I'm asking the question, why are you looking at me? And what I get is, choose to be more than you are conditioned to be. So once again, it's a message of our conditioning. We need to look at our conditioning that determines or tells us who we are. And then we need to look at those conditions and ask ourselves, is this conditioning still serving me? Some of your conditioning is serving you, some of it is not. The conditioning that I want to talk about is the conditioning that limits you. So it's the devil in the tarot deck. Okay. It is important that we reevaluate our belief systems right now. Part of the reevaluation process is to look at your life in general and ask yourself this question. What have I sacrificed in order to be liked, feel like I belong, feeling love, feeling not being alone? What have you sacrificed in order to ... And then ask yourself this question, is it worth it? Sometimes we sacrifice the very essence of who we are in order to be loved or in order to belong. But the problem with that is that we are then in an environment where we're trying to belong, but we don't know who we are because we have sacrificed ourselves. Okay? Now, sometimes we need to sacrifice things for a little while in order to get to a certain point, in order to learn something. So I'm not talking about temporary sacrifices where we know that in order to get this, we kind of have to sacrifice that, but long term, it's going to work out for the best. However, when we sacrifice ourselves, when we sacrifice our essence, that generally doesn't work out in our favor. Because generally what ends up happening is at some point, inevitably, we end up feeling like something is missing. And what is missing is essentially the aspect of ourselves we chose to sacrifice in order to ... And the question is it worth it? Okay. And each and every one of you will hear this message or experience this message in a different way. And obviously everyone's circumstance is different. So that's one aspect, one key element. Guidance wants you to think about. What part of you have you sacrificed in order to ... And was it or is it worth it? If it is worth it, and you are happy and you believe that it is making you happy, in other words, you're a happy camper, keep doing what you're doing. But if the answer is no, then it's time to look at your limitations. Because in order for you to sacrifice a part of you in order to be loved ... there must be a limiting belief system that in order for you to be loved, you have to, well, sacrifice yourself. Okay? So that's the first piece. Being grounded or grounding yourself obviously is extremely important. This message came up several times. It's grounding, it's like an anchor in a boat. It keeps you solid. It keeps you steady. I'm not talking about the anchor that keeps you stuck. I'm talking about grounding. You understand what grounding is. So this is a fairly fairly straightforward message. And basically the message is, if you can, you have the ability to, go outside, preferably on a grassy space or somewhere in nature, and connect with Mother Nature, connect with Mother Gaia, and ground yourself. The more grounded we are, the less we will be pushed around by our mind that has a tendency to sometimes be very overactive. So in particular, if you have a very overactive mind or an overactive mind, your need for grounding is especially very important. If you are highly sensitive or a sensitive person, your ability to live life effectively relies heavily on you being grounded. Because if you're not, then chances are quite high that you will become someone who absorbs a lot of people's energy, and that energy, including your own, is going to make you feel very anxious. Okay, so if you're an anxious person, I'm going to say it differently. If you are a sensitive or highly sensitive person, chances are quite high, like 90%, that you have challenges with overactive mind and with an anxiety. Okay? Therefore, it is very important for you to be grounded. Because of what's going on in the world, and because of this heavy energy, if you will, or lower vibrating, denser energy, it can really play with our energy bodies. So it is very important that we stay grounded so that we are able to move through this energy, hopefully unscathed. Okay? So take the time to ground yourself every single day. Make this part of your daily routine. It's like brushing your teeth. Make grounding part of your daily routine. It is how you consciously manage your energies. It's a very effective way of managing your energies. Okay? Focus. What you focus on becomes your reality. If you focus on an uncertain future is what is or will be your reality. Okay? If, on the other hand, you focus on promising future, you will have future that is full of possibilities. Okay? So it is very important that this week, or any other week for that matter, we really, really pay attention to what we focus on. Remember, what you focus on, you make real. Okay? For example, if you're focusing on constantly feeling unhappy, then you are not going to experience happiness. Because in order to experience happiness, you have to focus on happiness. That's just the way it is. I wrote some things down here when I was meditating. This was very interesting. I saw a person walking across the street, and I felt I need to say to somebody, look both ways. So if you frequently cross the street in busy traffic, look both ways. So there is a message for somebody. Okay. Another message is basically pay attention. Pay attention. This week in particular, pay attention. Pay attention to what you feel, to what's around you, to what you're focusing on. Be more mindful. It's a critical point right now. It's a critical point because I feel it will be very easy for us to get triggered, and it will be very easy for us to to focus on energy that is of lower frequency. It's because there's so much going on. Okay, so pay attention where your focus goes. And last but not least, another image I had was somebody was reaching to a cookie jar and taking out a cookie. And what was peculiar about this message is that this person was doing it in hiding. This person didn't want anyone to see that he or she is taking the cookie, very much in hiding. So I don't know who this message is for, but this may be a message for someone who hides something in terms of their eating habits. Is there another message with this? For some of you, it denotes dealing with emotions through use of food. And we often do that, but it can become an unhealthy habit. So, but it's something about hiding. So there's a message, at least for one person. It's like whoever you are, it's like you portray yourself one way in front of other people, but then when nobody's around, you'd have this other thing that you do that you don't want other people to know. It has something to do with hiding food. If you resonate with this, then that's something for you to look at, because that is a limitation. There's a limitation in that. There's some sort of a limitation that that you are trying to deal with, and it is through the use of food, an unhealthy use of food. It's a limitation. It's something that limits you. So if I hope that helps whoever you are. And that is all I have for you. It's a little bit shorter this week because I realized that most of the videos that I produce, the average watch time is about 25 to 29 minutes. So if I make a longer video, then chances are you're not going to watch it. So I'll make them a little bit shorter, more concise, and let's see how that goes. And thank you, each and every one of you, for being here. Like I said, I do this for you. I do this for me, but I do this for you. And I am really grateful for each and every one of you that has subscribed or watches my material, because, it's important to me that I spread the message. And the message is quite simple. Love yourself. Learn how to love yourself, which will help diminish your own limitations. Okay? And my job in that, or my function in this equation, is to highlight some things for you and hopefully to show you how. Okay? By recognizing certain elements within you that are often beyond recognition, conscious recognition, and things that when one becomes aware of, one has the ability to shift and change that limitation. So hopefully my work is able to do that for you, and I know many of you write that that's such a case. And whenever I read it, I always get emotional. So thank you for your trust. All right, guys, I wish you best of luck. I look forward to your comments, and see you soon. Take care.